Let's go!
This game has been like slightly off of my radar for a little bit of time now, and it's getting close to coming out, which is why I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into it a little bit. I thought this was made from the devs that did some previous Souls-likes, but it actually isn't. They just made another game from my recall. I might be getting this mixed up. Those guys made a different game called Atlas Rising or something like that. The game that like just came out. That was that crew. They made these like weird techno futuristic. I'm a guy and I'm Atlas Fallen. That's what it's called. What was the Surge? Thank you. The Surge and these other Souls-like. I think the Surge devs are the same guys that made Atlas Fallen. So I thought it was the Surge devs that were making the Lords of the Fallen. This is confusing because all these games have very similar names, you know? So I didn't like the Surge very much, and I was like, yeah, this really isn't for me. But this is apparently like different developers and a different kind of game. And some of the trailers of Lords of the Fallen have looked pretty impressive. I just haven't looked at much of it in a very long time. So let me click on this and see what it looks like now.
Latest receiver of his grace. Great potential dwells within you, doubtless, for you to be chosen thusly. And so does Aureus' wisdom guide my hand in the bestowment of this subsequent boon. Your flesh has been made sacrosanct with the mark of the Dark Crusaders.
Almost very Diablo-like at the start here.
Yourself worthy of this gift. Seek me in the bowels of the bridge.
We'll use that word again.
Our work is of the greatest import.
Stop blinking. No more blinking. I don't like it. Wait, you just have a Bloodborne hat? Yeah, like a Bloodborne tricorn? And you have Eileen's cloak? Wow, that really looks like a Bloodborne costume. That's kind of funny. Time to hunt? I mean, apparently. This definitely looks like a Souls-like, that's for sure. Interesting. Big charge attacks. This isn't a Souls game. It's a Souls-like. Right? You have to understand that Dark Souls games spawned an entire genre. So, no, it isn't a Souls game. It's a game made by non-Souls game designers. They really like Souls games. R3 is locked. That makes a lot of sense. It visually looks really good. Let me turn something up. Hold on a second. I'm thinking the only thing that's kind of underwhelming at the start is the sound design. Some of the hits don't feel super great. Oh god. Hold in left stick and jump. I guess that's better, right? Than what it historically has been in some situations. Yeah, it seems okay. It seems like it's definitely worth a shot. It's obvious, it's unapologetically, right? Like the character launches in here with just like Eileen's costume for the most part, outside of the, you know, the plague mask. What the hell? Damage numbers, eh? Okay. Yeah, have they said there's going to be a character creator? I'm assuming there will be character creation. Well, that's creepy. The Umbral lamp gimmick is kind of dope. There's a character creator, okay. Yeah, this is the game's gimmick, right? This Umbral lamp thing. Which is pretty cool. Mind you. Yeah, there's a health bar behind my head. Hold on a second. That's what you were missing out on. The Ouroboros lamp. It really doesn't look bad. Got some sort of combo system. Ow! Damn, you just got souls. Alright. Alright. That's about right. Had that happen to me too much. It looks like it does have potential, yeah. I mean, again, of all, like, the big Souls-likes out there, this one definitely, this one and Lies of P look like they have pretty close to the formula down. The thing is, Lies of P was really impressive how close that formula got. Like, in a lot of these Souls-likes, when we check them out, they do not have, like, the level design part. That's usually the thing that's really missing. Or there's some of the combat, right? Those things kind of don't hit in the ways that you hope they would. And weirdly enough, Lies of P kind of did. So it was really surprising where it's like, wow, this kind of feels like it's getting close to being up there. Mortal Shell also did a pretty good job, but not entirely. Not entirely. Wow, you can literally suck their soul out. What was that sound? Weird. That's an interesting gimmick. You can give him like a soul sucking. How do you feel about Neo? Neo is more of a Ninja Gaiden game, to be completely honest. Oh, that was a Steam achievement sound. Neo completely lacks the things that make Souls games amazing, and it's not the combat, it's not the graphics, it's the level design. Neo has way better combat, though. Let's be real. Neo's combat, in my opinion, is better than any Souls game. That's the credit I'll give it. But it lacks the charm of Souls games because it doesn't have the absolute friggin' godlike level design. And the atmosphere and the storytelling and all that kind of stuff that makes Souls games so good. So Neo still is a lot of fun, but after Neo 1, I couldn't finish Neo 2, man. I tried so many times. I think I fired up Neo 2 3 times to try to get through it, and I just could not get through it. And the same thing sort of happened with Wukong. Same exact thing happened with Wukong. Like, the games are almost identical with the way they're paced and functioning. Wukong was a bit more fun, but... oh, man. The combat in those games carries everything so much. Or was it Wolong? Sorry. I get the other action game mixed up that we might be seeing more of soon, which is the Monkey King game. Wolong. That's the one. That was funny. I mean, Sekiro wasn't much the same for me. Sekiro I actually wanted to finish. Sekiro's level design is incredible. Incredible. Its combat didn't hang with me throughout the whole game, but at least half of the game, the combat was incredible for me. So I legit really enjoyed it. I don't like it that we're in this weird space world all the time. Feels like we're already here, we're already in here too much. Going through some weird animal's butthole. Yeah, by the end of Sekiro, I was thoroughly burned out on its, like, combat. And then luckily, the last boss is interesting, is really interesting. Sort of like Devil May Cry elements where you gotta kill the Clyfoth or whatever the hell it is. Yay, you're out of the dank. Cool. Kicking and plunging attacks, cool. Abandoned red cops? It wasn't corpse, it was cops. So immediately, I'm already seeing some things that are like, you know, obviously lack the Souls-like. Hold on a second. Let me look at this door opening again. I mean, maybe it's on the onus of the player here, but usually when you open a door, like a big door, you get some grand scope thing, right? You get some like, wow, I can see this thing over there. Maybe I can go over there. Whoa, this thing goes up into the distance over here. Like there is some big element that like I am escaping into a completely new area. Here's your layout. Here's your place, right? And this could be on the player where the game lets the player just look around at a corner for some reason. Here's a corner. So you don't really get to see the vista shot. But yes, that is the gimmick of like Souls games, is that they usually give you big ass vista shots after you open a door. This is Lords of the Fallen. It's the most I've seen of it outside of trailers. Interesting. Man, the run animation is funny looking. Straight funny looking. This game came out years ago. That's, you know, I thought the same thing at the first, but no. Actually, no. Holy Bulwark Auto. He's already dead. Otto, you died so fast. Otto's back. Damn, he has a Monster Hunter roar? Oh, that's fine. Oh, shit! Yeah, I don't hear like any music. I don't think I've heard any music at all. If it's there, it's extremely faint. I don't think he's actually hit it yet. Oh dear. There is music. You got an achievement. Music sounds like it came from Batman Returns. Is that it? Pretty much. Is this the old one? Hands-on preview? No, this is definitely the new one. Let's look at this.
The original Lords of the Fallen holds the distinction as being one of the first non-From Software developed Souls-likes to put its own unique stamp on the genre. It's a stamp that, nearly 10 years later, is very faint and hard to make out, and also has itself been stamped over many, many times. That said, this new Lords of the Fallen...
I do remember Lords of the Fallen OG was not great.
Developed by the newly formed Hexworks studio, is looking to put a new stamp on the genre as the first truly next-gen Souls-like.
This is cool.
Visuals powered by Unreal Engine 5, an ambitious parallel realm mechanic, and a release that leaves
it's a UE5 game
in the dust. I got to play through about 2 hours, and based on those early impressions, Lords of the Fallen is certainly shaping up to leave quite a mark.
Yeah, some of these environments look really good.
My memories of the original Lords of the Fallen have largely faded away, with the exception of one sticking point. I remember that the movement and combat...
Holy shit, the camera in this game, I'm losing my mind.
...very slow and lumbering, even when using a class that's supposed to be the quick one among the 3 starting choices. This new Lords of the Fallen corrects that right out of the gate. I started with the Exiled Stalker, an agility-focused class who fights with twin daggers and employs a style of very fast and rapid strikes, and I found him to be just as quick and responsive as I would have hoped. There's a great fluidity to Lords of the Fallen's combat too. You can seamlessly flow from light attacks to heavy attacks, and you can even change weapon stance in the middle of a combo as well. I could start with 2 light attacks, press the stance switch button, and do another light attack, and I'd get a unique strike in which my character seamlessly goes from a dual-wielded slash to a 2-handed thrust.
Gotcha, so it has some pre-canned combos where you get special enders.
As you're able to easily swap between melee and magic attacks, even mid-combo. It opens the door for a lot of freedom of expression through combat, which is something that you don't see all that often in the Souls-like genre. I did have some issues with the camera making sudden, jerky movements when I was locked onto an enemy, which threw me off occasionally, and the sound effects felt a little off, but outside of those minor nags, I had a great time with Lord.
Yeah, those are pretty much the 2 things I've noticed, at least on just like a viewership end.
Of the Fallen's combat. It is a bit more forgiving than most other Souls-likes I've played, with very generous parry windows, lots of invulnerability frames on your dodge roll, and enemy attacks that feel very deliberately timed to allow you to get just out of the way if you dodge right after you attack. But that said, there's still a lot of challenge that comes from the level design and the situations you're put in. One area, Pilgrim's Perch, is built entirely along the side of a mountain, with
that's cool.
Kill falls being a threat at literally every turn. Add on to
yeah, stuff like that is very, is very Souls-like. Just having to deal with some crazy geographical like exchange between the player and the environment, and if you fall, you essentially fall into like a butthole swamp that poisons you.
The fact that enemies have
you gotta make your way back up, and then it's like the challenge of making it up that shit
at just the right moment to try to shove you off the edge. But fortunately, you can also turn this to your advantage thanks to both a strong kick that can be executed by pressing in both bumpers at the same time, and a technique called Soul Flay, which allows you to rip the soul out of an enemy and yank it in a direction, causing the body to follow along with it, leading to a very Looney Tunes-esque fall to their death. I also got to try a handful of boss fights that range from the imposing Pieta to the absolutely disgusting beast known as the Bog Lord. Every boss I encountered was a multi-phase battle, with the boss becoming substantially tougher as the fight progressed. After taking enough damage,
this looks like a Demon Souls boss. That was that guy's name.
Giving her access to a devastating dashing attack that left a downpour of heavenly swords in her wake. It was a fun fight. It struck a great balance between being tough, but also having very clear tells and easily discernible attacks with
the penetrator,
to avoid taking damage. The Boglord fight, I was much less of a fan of. though I only reached him at the end of my demo and only got a couple of attempts in before I had to put down the controller. When things moved to the corners of the arena, the camera felt like it was actively working against me, and I had a hard time telling what attack was coming my way. That was the most underwhelming part of the demo, but by far the most exciting and unique element in Lords of the Fallen is the relationship between the two parallel realms, Axiom and Umbral. Axiom is the world of the living, and bathed in a warm, comforting glow, while Umbral is oppressively dark and depraved. There are gross, flesh-like tendrils that spread all over the place, eyeballs that constantly watch you, bodies all plastered against the wall. It's very unsettling stuff. To bridge the gap between the two realms, you have a lamp that lets you peer into Umbral and see the differences.
Yeah, this gimmick is pretty dope.
Sometimes
look at this. This is cool.
Exists in Umbral, such as a bridge or a gap in the wall. Sometimes, though, you'll need more than just the lamp.
This is like some Unreal Engine 5 tech thing going on.
In order to interact with certain objects in order to clear a path. Doing so is dangerous, though, because dying in Axiom is fine. You'll respawn right where you are a few seconds later, only in Umbral. If you die while in Umbral, though, it's back to the last checkpoint for you, as you do the usual Souls-like song and dance of having to fight your way back to the spot you died in order to reclaim your lost currency. We have a full deep dive going into the Axiom Umbral mechanics, so I won't go into it in too much more detail here. But what stood out to me was that
I like this gimmick. It looks interesting.
Having two parallel but thematically different realms is not a new idea in games. Here in Lords of the Fallen, it never feels like a gimmick. Instead, just about every element of the game is enhanced by it. Exploration is more exciting when you have to make that call of whether or not...
And it feels like it's obviously a technology thing, right? This is something that potentially engines of the past would not be able to do. So being able to actively switch between it, this feels like definitely some Unreal Engine 5 bullshit. Could be, it obviously like harkens back all the way to games like Silent Hill. It's not specifically unique, you know?
You should make the jump into the Umbral realm. Combat is much trickier when you must also consider having to use your lamp in Axiom to try to burn away hidden Umbral parasites that make enemies stronger. And discovering gear and items is far more rewarding when you're able to spot a chest or item pickup that exists in one realm and not the other. It's clear that a lot of lessons were learned from the first Lords of the Fallen, to the point where this new version feels like it's entirely its own thing. And from my early impressions, so far, it seems like it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, this looks a lot better. What I saw here looks a lot better than what they showed in the 10-15 minute first 10 minutes of the game. First 10 minutes of the game looks okay, which should grab you. But the stuff they're showing off here is kind of dope. I went from being like at the beginning of that video, finishing and going, yeah, maybe I'll check this out, I don't know, to after watching this, yeah, I'll check it out. I'll actively grab a copy and make sure that we play it and give it a fair shot in some way. Hopefully it just doesn't drop when all the other games drop. Watch, this game comes out the same day as like Armored Core or some shit like that. Would be truly terrible. October? Oh, good. Oh, thank God.